Golden State Warriors knew exactly what they were doing. As you all know, the Warriors have made some big moves this offseason and some even considered controversial. But in today's video, we're going to be going through the 5 best moves that make complete sense for the Golden State Warriors and how they can help them win another NBA championship. So make sure to like this video, and guys, 92% of you are still not subscribed to the channel, so it'd mean the world if you could subscribe to the channel, hitting that red button down below. The first is adding Chris Paul and also adding him to the starting lineup. Now, a lot of people may have thought this was absolutely crazy having 2 point guards out there in Chris Paul and CP3, but over the last couple of preseason games, it seems that they work very well when they are on the floor together. Chris Paul being a point guard, 6 foot, 175 pounds, and is 38 years old, he works very well playing alongside Steph Curry, as Steph Curry tends to score a lot off ball, which makes Chris Paul's job a lot easier and also attracts less defense to Steph and Curry in that sense as well. So I think it is fantastic to see both them out there on the floor. But when it comes to CP3, whether he was able to fit into what the Warriors system and what they are trying to do, it seems to be working out very well. And I think it is fantastic to see what he has put up and the numbers he has put up so far in their couple of preseason games. Now, obviously, they aren't playing, a complete game in that sense, but I do believe that CP3 can definitely mesh well, not only with the starters, but also with the second unit, which I think is going to be super important in the future. When it comes to CP3 as well, what I do love about his game and what he has shown time and time again is that he can still score a bucket when he needs to. And I think this is something that is going to be super important, especially into next season, as it does attract less defense to someone like Steph Curry and also Klay Thompson. It spaces out the floor even better, and CP3 haven't been able to develop a great 3-point shot as well, would honestly make him even a scarier asset in this team. Now, CP3 last season actually had a 38% 3-point percentage, which was fantastic to see, and an effective field goal percentage of 51%. So this was last season, and on top of that, he had 8.9 assists, 4.3 rebounds, and 13.9 points. And these are the same type of numbers we are expecting from Chris Paul in this next upcoming season. If he does average the same, around 14 points, around 9 assists, and also 5 rebounds, I am telling you right now, the Golden State Warriors can definitely make it to the NBA Finals and win that NBA championship if CP3 puts up those similar numbers. The second is the Golden State Warriors keeping Jonathan Kuminga for another season. Now, I think this was super important because when it comes to Jonathan Kuminga, he is only 21 years old, but a lot of the NBA teams and also NBA fans know that Kuminga, if given the right opportunity, can be an absolute beast in the future. Now, Kuminga stands at 6'8", 210 pounds, so although he is a big guy at 6'8", he has the athleticism to play like a guard. Very fast, has a jump out the gym vertical, and can definitely get it done on the inside or outside when it comes to scoring. Now, Jonathan Kuminga last season averaged 9.9 points, 3.4 rebounds, and also 1.9 assists. But you do have to remember he was doing this with only 18 minutes of game time. And we may see him actually get a lot more game time as Dante DiVincenzo has left and a couple of other role players, so it may be time for Kuminga to step up and take that bigger role for this team. So I am excited to see what he will be capable of doing, but I do believe that Jonathan Kuminga is going to be something special for this roster, and he is going to have a huge, role in this team as well. Now, when it comes to Kaminga, in the most recent game, he actually did drop 26 points on the Los Angeles Lakers, which was fantastic to see. He also had 3 rebounds and 3 assists. On top of that, he also had another game where he dropped 24 points against the Lakers, where they did play back-to-back preseason games, and it is great to see that he is able to really score at will if given the right opportunity. Now, we aren't expecting Kaminga to drop 30-40 points a game. However, I do believe that Kaminga's role-playing role is going to be a huge asset, and it could be a make or break whether they make it far in the playoffs and also to the NBA Finals. Kuminga has to step up, and he even knows this himself, where in a recent interview he did say that this is his make or break season with the Golden State Warriors, because it has been rumored that, obviously, guys, he was rumored to be traded this offseason, but it does seem that the Warriors are going to give him another opportunity until the next trade deadline in the middle of this season to see if he can prove what he's worth. So I am going to be very excited to see Kuminga blossom into a great player, but I do believe and have the confidence that he will be able to stay with the Warriors, and I think he will be a huge asset when it comes playoff time. The third is having Andrew Wiggins as a power forward. Now, I think this is something that is super interesting, but the Golden State Warriors, and specifically Steve Kerr, has mentioned that he is looking to get Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins to play power forward a lot more. So we are going to see a very small ball, fast-paced type lineup from the Warriors this next season, and I think it is going to pay dividends, especially as Wiggins as a power forward. Now, don't get me wrong, I think Klay can do a fantastic job, but I think Wiggins is definitely perfect for it. 6'7", 197 pounds. Wiggins can also play in the post when it comes to offense and also defense. Very, very strong, which I like to see. Has a great vertical, so he can definitely keep up with the best of them, and he's still only 28 years old. So Wiggins is coming into those peak years in the NBA where he's got a good balance of youth, but also a great balance of also experience in the league. Now, last season, obviously his season was cut a little bit short when it comes to, the issues that he had to face in the middle of the season, but he was able to average 17.1 points, 5 rebounds, and 2.3 assists. So he did a fantastic job for the Golden State Warriors last season, and I think he can definitely do it once again for the Warriors in this next one. Now, when it comes to Wiggins, what I do believe is going to be a huge, increase when it comes to what he provides on the floor is definitely a lot more spacing. Having Draymond Green not in that lineup when we saw from the first preseason games was definitely a lot more space for everyone to go to work. Whether it was Steph, whether it was Klay, or even CP3, but Wiggins now turning into a knockdown three-point shooter has definitely opened up the floor for a lot of other players and also gives Kevon Looney enough space to go to work. Now, when it comes to Looney, as you all know, he is more of an inside center, so he does need the space to get the job done, and that's why adding Wiggins as that power forward position really spaces out the floor very well. Now, when it comes to Wiggins, his three-point percentage has been great all season long and also ever since he joined the Warriors. Now, in the most recent season, he actually had a three-point percentage of 40% while averaging 6 threes per game. Guys, this is insane to know that Andrew Wiggins, even in his rookie season, was averaging 28% from the three, but also shot only 1 3 per game. So he's definitely become a great three-point shooter ever since joining this Warriors team, and I think he can only get better as time goes on. The fourth is Klay Thompson moving to that small forward and also power forward position. So like I mentioned before with Andrew Wiggins, Steve Kerr has mentioned that we may see Klay Thompson playing small forward and power forward this season as they try to add Chris Paul into that starting lineup. So it does seem that Klay Thompson is going to be staying in that starting lineup, and I think it is honestly fantastic. Klay Thompson is still a great defender, and yes, he is still coming back from 2 major injuries, guys, and yes, it has been 2 seasons, but I'm telling you, this upcoming season, we will definitely see a new Klay Thompson. It does take a while to heal from 2 season-ending injuries, and I think now has been enough time for him to be able to get back to his feet and playing at his tip-top shape. Now, Klay Thompson stands at 6'6", 215 pounds, and is 33 years old, and Klay last season actually averaged 21.9 points, 2.4 assists, and 4.1 rebounds, while also shooting a three-point percentage of 41% on 10 threes, and an effective field goal percentage of 56%. So, Klay's numbers definitely do show that he was still a very highly efficient shooter last season, and I think he can definitely do the same again. Now, when it comes to Klay's role in this team, it definitely has changed as CP3 is now the point guard, which actually moves Klay Thompson into a position where he doesn't need to do too much out there besides catch and shoot. Now that he's actually into that position, we actually see Steph Curry being more of that shooting guard position where he's running around screens, going around in all those places, and I think Klay Thompson now has an easier role where he can literally just catch and shoot and do what he does best. And I think that's what makes this so well. When it comes to Klay, he has just done a fantastic job all of last season being a great spot-up shooter, but obviously with Steph Curry having to take much of the scoring load and also Klay Thompson, it definitely got him out of his comfort zone. Now he can go back to what he does best, and I think that is going to pay huge dividends, especially when it comes to playoff time. The fifth is adding Draymond Green to the 6-man role. Now guys, this may be a bit controversial, but it does seem that Draymond Green may be playing that 6-man role throughout this next upcoming season. Now when it comes to Draymond, he has actually mentioned in a podcast that he, during the playoffs, actually made it by himself to make a decision to come off the bench in order to really help that second unit. And it did work really, really well during that playoffs. Unfortunately, they still did get knocked out by the Lakers, but Draymond Green said it worked. And he said he wouldn't mind actually coming off the bench, and Steve Kerr and also the rest of the front office have made it known that Draymond could be coming off the bench from time to time. And Draymond is completely okay with that. And I think that's what makes this such a great team. Everyone is here and just willing to win, and they will do it at any cost. Now, Draymond Green last season averaged 8.5 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 6.8 assists. Now, that may not sound like MVP or all-star type numbers, but I'm telling you, Draymond Green is definitely the rock of this team. And I think having him come off the bench would actually be very, very beneficial as a whole, not only just for the second unit, but also giving that impact play that is definitely needed to that starting lineup once he is in that 6-man role. Draymond has always been a great defender, and I think that's something that second unit will definitely need, and he's definitely a captain or leadership type role that Draymond can definitely give to the younger guys, especially for that second unit. So I think it makes complete sense. You know, you have Chris Paul, who's going to be that leader and that point guard for that starting lineup, and Draymond coming off the bench can do it for that second unit. It makes sense because having Green and Chris Paul out there on the same floor, two playmakers, it just doesn't really make too much sense, and you'll need more scorers rather than playmakers out there. So I think it actually works out for the better, and this could be honestly a start of a very, very good and deep team. They can definitely go all 10 when it comes to having different sort of lineups that work really, really well. And now that Draymond is willing to come off the bench, I think it just makes it that much more better. Draymond stands at 6'6", 230 pounds, 33 years of age, but he still has a lot of years left to get it done.